Good morning and welcome to Big T Studios. I'm so egotistical I had to put my own brand name on a guitar cabinet. I'll probably be showing the video of me changing this piece out kind of up here in the corner while I'm talking about this a little bit. I built these probably about 12 years ago, and I never did like the grill that I put on. I just put some thin wire mesh grill that I picked up at Lowe's. And when you're recording, there's a buzz you can hear and it'll drive you crazy trying to figure out where is that buzz coming from. But this system, I built this using 4 Texas Heat by Eminence speakers. And I've always thought, man, this has got a crisp sound. I love the sound. But when I was playing live, I didn't care if I had a flexible grill on the front. You're playing to a bunch of people that don't give a crap if it's pristine sound. It's not the same as when you're recording and you're trying to eliminate all possible bugs in your sound. But I recommend that anybody do this. You say, I have no woodworking skill. Have some fun with it. Go learn it. I know that as musicians, we're known for being a bunch of big dorks that's socially awkward. That definitely fits us. And sometimes we need to learn some of these things, like the wiring procedures, the ohms, how to put together your ohms. This is 2 16 ohms in a parallel. 2 16 ohms in parallel is 8 ohms. 8 ohms and 8 ohms. If I ran this in parallel, would be 4 ohms. So I'd need to use a 4 ohm connection to this amp. But I've got a box in the back that has a series. It allows me to connect in series, and 8 ohm and 8 ohm in a series is 16 ohm. So I've got plenty of flexibility. And that's just one of the things you'll learn in putting together something like this. Now, for this demo, we're talking about building this. I'm going to show off this Electro-Harmonix. Now, this is only going to be through the camera. I'm not trying to make some grand social statement about my skill as a guitarist. I don't have any. But I will talk a little bit about this. Now, my speakers are Eminence. I've mentioned that they're Texas Heat by Eminence. Those are made in America. People say, man, I wished I could get quality made in America. Well, you can. Now, most of the 212 speaker cabinets that you buy that are made out of plywood, most of them are going to carry the Celestion speakers. Some are going to be the GH12s or G12s, and some are going to be the vintage 30s. They're all fine speakers. But if you're trying to find your own sound, maybe pick something that everybody else hasn't done to death. Find your own pathway. There's plenty of options. And about this Electro-Harmonix, what is this? Well, Electro-Harmonix has been in the electronics game since the 60s. Back in the 90s, this guy that owns Electro-Harmonix went over to Russia after the fall of communism and bought an entire surplus depot of electronic parts. And he started building what was called the Sovtek Mig 50. And a lot of people love those amps. This is a non-master volume amp. It's built on the circuit from the, I think it's from the 40s or 50s, that RCA put out so they could help sell tubes. But that circuit became what's known as the Fender Bassman. Fender Bassman has probably one of the most famous clones ever that came out of England. It's called the Marshall JTM 45. So this amp, developed in the 90s, is a very stripped down amp. It doesn't have an effects loop in the back. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. It's literally just raw power. And you're probably wondering, well, how much raw power could it have? It's made by Electro-Harmonix. Who are they? They don't sell amps. Actually, they do. Here it is. But that Softtech was definitely a powerhouse, and this one is very much in that exact same vein. Just like the Marshall JTM 45, you've got a high input and a regular input, and you got two different volume knobs. You got treble, middle, bass, and presence. Now, on the JTM 45, you jumper two of the connectors out of your 4 and plug into either one of the others, and basically you're running both volume setups. And this can be achieved by using a splitter wire. Or you don't have to use a splitter wire. I've got a stereo, a 2-output EQ. You could go that route if you wanted to. So there's plenty of ways to getting double. You say, well, if it ain't got an effects loop, how do you do effects? One way that I've tried with some recording is plug time-based effects like reverb that can get real muddy and dark if you plug them into the normal and plug them into the treble, but run your regular guitar tone through the normal. And you can even swap it out and go vice versa. There's plenty of ways of testing stuff. So with this setup, is it worth having? Well, to get a 50-watt tube amp from Fender, you're going to pay over $1,000 if it's made in America. Now, you can get it made in Mexico for $800 to $1,000, maybe even $1,300 because tariffs and everything. But to get one made in America, you're going to spend money. To get the made in England Marshalls, you're going to spend on a 50-watter, you're going to spend $1,600 to $1,700. So how does this compare? Well, at $799, that ain't a bad deal. And then you can brag to all your friends, hey, it's made in America. America! There is a drawback on this amp. It's probably my biggest pet peeve. These two switches, your power on and your standby, these are plastic. They feel plastic. They feel cheap. And I'm going to run with it until they absolutely break. And then when they break, I'm going to jam a screwdriver in there and flip it up and down with a screwdriver until I get electrocuted real good, maybe collapse on the ground, start choking and sputtering and making weird noises. But in the meantime, that is the one thing I wish Electro-Harmonix would fix. Because otherwise, it's a powerful amp. It's loud, it's crisp. You can get the basic tones of the Fender Bassman, the country bluegrass style stuff, or you can get some downright raunchy tones as you start cranking this thing up. But just bear in mind, it's going to drive you out of the room. Like I said, I'll just give you a quick demo for the purposes of just using the meter. Notice that with me talking in this room, it's a 16 by 20 room, we're hitting about 60 decibels. I'm going to start with this thing down on second little notch up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seven steps to get to 12 o'clock. 7 steps all the way around 14. So it's not numbered. That may be for a worldwide audience. So unlike Marshall amps, this goes to 14. But with this setup, you can really tear some people's heads off if you're a young person and watching this and you're wanting to drive your parents out of the house. They're going to love the cost of this thing, but they're not going to love you for the sound it makes. Now, what kind of sounds does the Bassman make? grandpa rock, my kind of rock. Eric Clapton used the Fender Bassman. The Youngs used Marshalls in their AC/DC albums. I think even Eddie Van Halen used a non-master volume Marshall on his first album. So the options are endless on this because it does take pedals very well. And like I said, this is not a demo for precision sound. It's just to give you an idea of how loud this setup can get. And it's probably going to sound horrible coming through the cell phone microphone, but I will back the volume down. But pay attention to the loudness meter because it will get loud. Because I'm sitting in front of this thing, we are going to use some hearing protection. It's fun to rock out with a big loud sound. It feels good when you're really pushing that air, but I like my ears. Now we're going to start off probably about 7, 8 o'clock. So you can get you some country drive going on there. You can even give it some rockabilly. Or if you don't want to be too rockabilly and maybe get something a little bit more laid back country. And you can push it pretty hard up at 12 o'clock. You can push it even harder. Take it all the way up to 14. And just a little boost in the mid-range with a EQ pedal, in-band EQ pedal. So this can definitely get some loudness going. So if you're asking mommy and daddy to help you get your first amplifier, you can tell them how clean it plays. Upper pickup. But this can fill a whole room with sound, and it will damage your hearing. So beware. Is this setup loud? Oh God, yes. and it's loud with a 212. Technically, this amplifier, even with a 112, is pretty loud. So you don't have to spend a fortune getting the sound you want. Just experiment. Try things that other people aren't doing. Everybody's done the Marshall with a vintage 30. Try something different. Be unique. Let me know what you think down in the comments. You know, I know you're going to tell me, oh, what a horrible guitarist. Got it. But set up. I'll put together a video in the coming weeks and try to get a proper microphone set up in this space and give it a real listen so that you can kind of see what you're feeling in this, because it's not a bad setup. Made in America, made by yours truly, but made in America, made in America, made in America with made in America speakers. It's not bad. It's not a bad setup at all. No, it's not for sale. Well, that is. You can get those at Sweetwater Guitar Center. Any music store that sells Electro-Harmonix stuff can get these. But thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. Hope y'all have a great day, and come back and check us out. We'll try to put some more up.